So, ready or not, here we go. So, welcome everyone to this expedition talks. Yesterday we did the Faroe Islands. Today we are covering the hidden trails of Iceland. That is basically our signature trip. Um, and as I was saying, we are gonna aim to cover everything, all those burning questions that we have been getting from you over the last few days. But we are not gonna be covering the day by day itinerary. Okay. So we are mainly gonna focus on logistics, meals, transportation, accommodation, and all the questions you may have about gear. Otherwise, if we would just go over the day by day, we would be revealing a lot of secrets. First of all, for you folks, and we want to keep the excitement high for the trip. And at the same time, we would need to invest way more time on this. All right. Um, at the end of the presentation, again, we will have the Q&A time period of time, and we will be just answering all of your questions as much as we can. So these are us. We are Monica and Albert. We own Amarok Adventures, a travel agency, Icelandic travel agency. We know that a bunch of you have booked through other retailers or other companies or other platforms or online platforms, but the trip is the same, and the people who answer the emails are basically both of us. We have a very small business. We don't like to call ourselves a travel agency, but a guiding company because that's what we are. We are guides, and we have a company that is led and managed by licensed and certified guides. We are focused on Arctic and Antarctic regions, mainly working here in Iceland, the Faroe Island, Greenland, Baffin Island, and then in the Antarctic region as Antarctica and Canada. Antarctica and Patagonia. Um, we are mainly focused on backpacking and trekking trips, hiking trips, sailing, and expedition-like trips. And all of those certifications you get to see down there are basically our certifications. Apart from being, of course, guides and sailors, we belong to the Association of Icelandic Mountain Guides. Monica belongs to the International Mountain Leader Association, WIMLA. Then we are both part of the Knowles Wilderness Medicine and Senior Polar Guides, recognized since last year from the PTGA, that is the Polar Tourism Guides Association. Um, as I was saying, we are going to talk about the hidden trails. This is not your average tour. It is not your average trip yet you do on your holidays. It's something more. It's something a little bit deeper that Monica is going to tell you over the following minutes. So, Monica, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. First of all, nice to have you all here today talking about the hidden trails. And as you know, this is an amazing adventure we enjoy every summer and in the Highlands in Iceland. And yes, so we are going to talk about it today. And it's an adventure that we enjoyed for 12 days, and actually hiking is 10 days, but we start the first day is when you arrive to Iceland, and then the last day is when we are coming back from the Highlands to Reykjavik. So that's the last day. So in total it's 12 days, but hiking is 10 days. So we cover more or less between 150 kilometers, 160, it depends on the day, and it's around 90 miles in total. So sometimes we say that we cover more than 150 kilometers because depending on the weather, sometimes we have the chance to see other corners, beautiful corners in the highlands. Then we have to do some detour for 5, 8 kilometers more. So we think always that it's worth it. And of course, we are going to do it always we can if the weather conditions allow us to do it. That's why usually is we hike between 150 and 160 kilometers. And of course, we have different kinds of accommodation in this trip. The first one, of course, the first night is a guest house in Kåsboklur. That is a village 1 hour and a half from Reykjavik. So the first day, we'll start our journey in our base camp in Reykjavik. So we'll have the briefing there, and then after the briefing, we'll drive 1 hour and a half to the first accommodation of the trip, that is Midgard Base Camp. So we'll spend the night there, and after this night, the rest of the trip we are gonna sleep in the mountain huts. So it's going to be 10 mountain huts in total along this beautiful journey. And about the hiking, well, daily hiking, we have between 7 and 25 kilometers, depending on the day. That means depending on the weather condition as well, between 4 and 15 miles. Sometimes we have a short day, around 6, 7 kilometers. Like it happens in Landmannalaugar the first day that we hiked 7 kilometers uh, because it's a very nice hike and we can see all the valleys from the top of this mountain we are going to climb this day. So basically, it's around 7, 8 kilometers. And the rest of the days, the average is between 15, 17, or 25 kilometers. So depending on the weather conditions, depending on if it's a sunny day or if it's a rainy day. So we'll see along the way. Daily elevation gain, maximum is 700 meters. That means it's 2,300 feet. And this kind of terrain is very, very different depending on the day. Every corner in Iceland has a highlight and something. There's beauty everywhere. And every stage of the trek, we are going to enjoy different kinds of landscapes. So from the geothermal areas from Landmannalaugar to, for example, the green mountains and dark sand in Lancashire, to a native forest in Thosmore. So different landscapes every day. And of course, the terrain is gonna be different as well every day in terms of narrow trails or wider trails, or sometimes we don't have a trail. So that's another beautiful and amazing thing that we have in this adventure. We love it because you change every day. The guides we change the way of navigation through the terrain. So for us, it's very fun to navigate through these different kinds of terrain.
Cool. Thank you, Monica. So yeah, as Monica was saying, or as we were saying before, this is not an expedition. This is not a tour, your average tour. This is more like an expedition-like adventure or an expedition-like trip. And we are going to be hiking across the most remote and rough places in the Icelandic highlands. We were mentioning that there are going to be days that we are going to do probably more distance than the one that appears on the brochure, and let us explain this a little bit. So just to give you an idea, a few years ago, and this is mainly the reason why we are starting focus a little bit on explaining this. A few years ago, one of us was with a group out in the trails, and it was an amazing day, sunny day, fantastic weather conditions. And one of us, one of the guides, told the group, "Hey, I would love to show you this place that is just around the corner. It will increase a little bit the distance of the trip, but the place you're gonna get to see it's something that nobody gets to see at all when coming for hiking in Iceland, and I bet you folks are gonna love it." Um, so we can say that 99% of the group loved it and was extremely thankful about hiking. I think it was like 1, 2 extra K or something like 1 extra hour of hiking that day. I mean, the group started very early in the morning and they arrived still quite early to the hut. But after the trip, we got an email saying like, yeah, so trip was amazing, but there was one day that we hiked for 1 extra hour. So if you're a person that are gonna be counting the miles, we can tell you that you're not gonna enjoy this trip. And basically because people counting the miles are people who are very, very used to be on marked trails. And sometimes in the Icelandic highlands, we do not have marked trails, like the big picture that you can get to see of these people crossing the river. That's a plane that in just a straight line normally is about like 2 kilometers. When we walk through this plane, we normally tend to do pretty much double that distance, mainly because we need to find our way. And the Icelandic highlands, they're in constant change. So that means that sometimes we basically need to find where we are. We need to find our trail, even though we know perfectly where we are going, of course. Um, but sometimes when we have rivers, we might need to take kind of like a big loop to find the best place for crossing the river. Sometimes, if there's a huge storm, we might just need to take a detour to avoid this strong winds and so on. So come to the trip with an open mind because you might be doing instead of 15K per day, you might just do, I don't know, 18K one day, next day 17, next day you might be doing 11 because we have less distance to cover. And as I was saying, it is an expedition-like trip, okay, an expedition-like adventure. And because of this, we are gonna be welcoming you for the first time on the Amarok Adventures base camp in Reykjavik at the beginning of the trip. This is our headquarters in Reykjavik that we are currently preparing for all of you. So for the last few years, we have been doing the briefing of the trip on the accommodation upon arrival, but it was a little bit cold. Just picking you up at the BSI at the bus station and just say, hey, so welcome aboard. We are gonna drive for 1.5 hours. So meet the people seated next to you. It was a little bit cold, so as we also needed a place to just prepare all the logistics for this trip, including the food boxes and so on, we decided to open a small base camp in town. So we are going to be on the Old Harbor, but nevertheless, we are going to pick you up at the BSI, and then we will drive you to the base camp. Of course, if you're close to the harbor and instead of going back and forth, first to the BSI and then towards our base camp, you can always walk to the base camp. You can always send us an email that same morning saying, "Hey, I will meet you today at the base camp." Don't worry about the pickup times or anything like that. That's something that we will let you know at the end of the presentation. All right. So general overview of the trip. This is something that Monica was mentioning before. In total, yeah, we have 10 days of pure hiking, plus 1 day of arrival and 1 day of departure. The day that you arrive is the day we pick you up, we drive you to the base camp, we do the briefing for the trip, and then we go for a drive that will take about hour and a half till the accommodation on the south coast of Iceland that will get us closer to the highlands. For next day, arrive earlier and enjoy more our time outdoors. And then the last day, it's basically driving back from the highlands towards the city. You all should have received at the moment when we confirmed all the trips. Um, you should have received an email saying, "Hey, remember not to book your departure flights, so your return home flights, before a certain time." I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 p.m. of the last day. This is because we need to leave from the highlands. We need to leave from Thorsmark, and it takes a little while to arrive back to the city. It's about, I mean, the drive is about 2 hours more or less, plus the time that you need to leave the highlands. And that depends a lot on how the weather has been the last few days, because we need to cross a lot of rivers with the vehicle that is going to drive us back. Then after that, we are going to spend 2 days hiking in Landmannalaugar, 6 days off the beaten track on what we call the hidden trails, and then 2 last days hiking the famous Laugavegur Trail. That is this famous trail that became extremely popular here in Iceland after National Geographic pretty much named it as one of the best trails in the world. And it truly is. But we like to do a little bit of a bigger loop so we can show you folks all of the amazing stuff that we have around that area. Um, in the Sorry for that. In the trip, we are gonna be staying overnight in. Apart from the guest house, we are gonna staying overnight in three different huts, different kinds of huts. Okay, first of all, we have the Laugavegur Trail huts. Those are the biggest ones, and we have Landmannalaugar. That is the first mountain hut where we are gonna be staying. That is, for example, this picture in the middle. Okay, this would be kind of like a common room or the regular room style that we have in Landmannalaugar. Then we are going to be staying in Altava, that it's this kitchen in here and this hut in here. Emstrur, that it's a little bit different because instead of being just one big building, it's made of three smaller mountain huts or three smaller cabins. And finally, Thorsmerk Langidalur, that is this big mountain hut that is one of the oldest ones in that particular area. All of these big huts, they have wardens on them. They have showers and toilets and a big kitchen, and we are going to be sharing those with more groups, mainly people hiking this famous Laugavegur Trail that is just 4 or 5 days. Okay. In the first hut in Landmannalaugar, apart from having showers, apart from having wardens, apart from being a big hut, we have two important things. First of all, we have for those people who like beer and wine, we have a very tiny store that it's called the Mountain Mall, and they do sell beer cans and wine. And at the same time, we also have one of the most important features, geological features of this place, of this area in the highlands, that it's a natural hot spring that is next to the hut, which is 2 minutes walk from the hut. Okay, so this would be the first kind of mountain huts where we would be staying, like big huts. Amount of people sharing these huts, approximately, I mean, the biggest one is Landmannalaugar, and might be something like 70 people in the hut, so they are pretty big. Okay, then we move towards the off the beaten track huts. So we are going to be staying in four smaller and historical huts that used to be from the shepherds, from the people taking care of roaming the sheep out in the mountains. So these huts, they were bought by a hiking club on the 90s, and all of them were rebuilt. But as you can see, the size of them, it's way smaller than the other ones. They are more basic, they are more remote, they are way more authentic, and they have no showers. And you might be thinking like, oh gosh, where are we stepping in? Like, is this gonna be even comfortable? Well, by experience, we can tell you that I would say 95% of the people coming to the Hidden Trail, they prefer the smaller huts that we normally share with our group, and that's it. So maybe maximum about 16 people, 14, 16 people. Some places just 13. So 12 people plus the guide. And we are going to be sharing this ones with us instead of with tons of people. So they are way, way, way more enjoyable sometimes. Of course, inside they are made out of rock and wood rather like for example the other ones the big ones they are made out of wood, they were made out of brick, concrete in some places, but mainly in here we have a completely different kind of hut, smaller, cozier, and way more remote. And then right in the middle, we have Holaskjol, that it's a hut that it does belong to the farmers still today, and it's right halfway in the trail. Okay, it's a big hut, has a small store with drinks, so you can think like, hey, I'm gonna be hiking for a few days, then halfway of the trip, I'm gonna arrive to this place. We're gonna be able to celebrate. We are gonna be able to purchase some beers and celebrate the effort done so far. um, you're gonna have the chance of charging your electronic devices. That's something that everyone is always looking forward to see if we are gonna have power in the huts. This is the only mountain hut that has power, and it works 80% of the time. Sometimes we might have a storm and there might be no electricity outside, but most of the time, yeah, you have plenty of outlets and you can charge your devices. And this hut, of course, has showers. It is bigger, so we expect to share it with more people as well. Okay. Um, okay, meals. Would you like to cover this, Monica?
Yes, so about the meals and the hidden trails, well, all meals are included except for dinner in Midgard. That is the first night. And breakfast and dinner at the huts are included every day. So we'll have the food there, and we just have to carry the or the snacks and the lunch packs with us, plus the water and all our stuff on our backpacks. But so we'll do breakfast and dinner at the huts, and the lunch is on the way. So usually during the breakfast, we can prepare, or everyone can prepare uh, a sandwich or any kind of snacks you have. Or we are gonna bring you a lot of snacks as well for the day. But of course, if someone wants to have if someone wants some or her own snacks is perfect, because we know you like sometimes different things that we have here in Iceland. But of course, it's perfect if you have your own stuff with you. But of course, we are gonna have snacks and sandwiches and everything for your lunch every day. So this is about the food, and this is about the food boxes we are going to have in every single hut when we arrive there. So we have a group of people that is going to deliver all the food boxes in the huts just 1, 2 days before we arrive there. So we'll have breakfast and lunches and dinners in these food boxes ready for use. And we usually cook every night, and we prepare breakfast in the morning, because we know which kind of ingredients we have in every food box, and we know how to cook it. We know all the equipment that the huts have, because every hut is different. So every hut has different pots, different pans. So we know what's better to cook in, and depending on the place, and also depending on um, uh, the if it's a long day or if it's a short day. So sometimes if it's a long day, we're going to arrive to the hut a little bit later than other days. So that means that we have to cook something that is not so complicated. Of course, everything is going to be homemade and very, very fresh food with vegetables and a lot of delicious ingredients, but sometimes you have to go faster because it's late. So we organize the menu depending on the huts, depending on the days. So all the food is inside these boxes, and we prepare the menus with a lot of love. So we try to choose good ingredients and good vegetables for the foods. And except the first and the last day, we use ingredients that can stay at very fresh for the first moment. But the first day, for example, we do some barbecues in La Manaloiga, so we can use fresh ingredients like fish or salads or vegetables or whatever, fresh food. But and the last day as well for the last barbecue. But in between the other huts, we use uh, different kinds of vegetables and also fresh food, but different kind of fresh food. And yeah, that's it. We try to cover all your diet requirements because we know that some people is vegan, vegetarian, or pescatarian, or yeah, or gluten free. But we try to do it. We have all your emails with your diet requirements with us, so we are going to try to organize everything with all your your requirements. Sorry. All right, so this is mainly the all the process with the food boxes, and that's it here. So I don't know with the next. Do you want to add something, Albert? Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit now that you have mentioned the diet requirements. As Monica said, we know that we have a lot of people that are vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, and, and 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 also celiac, gluten free. So, if you haven't sent us your diet requirements at this point, we really need them because we need to plan accordingly all the meals. We don't have stores in the Icelandic Highlands. We are just going to be in the mountains, so there's no place where we can replenish. And all of this is purchased beforehand, before the trip, and we need to organize everything on the food books. So please, if you haven't send the diet requirements. If you do have a diet requirement, please send it to us as soon as you can. There is a very thin line between what you need and what you want, and this is important. Like if you do not like, for example, eggplant, it is not that you are allergic or that you have an intolerance to eggplant or peppers or similar. So not everything lasts in the Icelandic Highlands. We do not have coolers, we do not have freezers waiting for us on the mountain huts at all. Okay, so the only thing we do have are these boxes. So if you do have an allergy, like for example, you are celiac, that's extremely important for us to know so we can plan accordingly to bring gluten-free products for you. At the same time, this is a warning. We do not have so many brands in Iceland for gluten-free good products. So even though we can provide gluten-free bread, gluten-free pasta, and so on, if there are some snacks, gluten-free snacks that you would like to have, you're very welcome to bring those. All right. Same with people. The other day, for example, we got a question about being vegan, and what would be the protein that we would just provide during the meals. Well, we do, for example, provide for dinners, quite a lot of legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and so on. Um, it is important to know that other stuff that needs to be on very cold temperatures, like tofu or seitan or similar, they do not last. Okay, so we do not provide those. So if you have your own brand of vegan snacks that you like to have while you're hiking, again, you're very welcome to bring those. Um, and then, of course, a few years ago, we got one person on a trip that he said right the opposite. It was the first time for us just hearing this, but he said, "I'm a meatitarian, so I do not eat fruit. I do not eat vegetables. I only eat meat, not even fish, just meat." And we said, "Well, then you have a problem because meat might last for a few days, but not for the entirety of 12 days out in the mountains." So yeah, don't expect to have everything of every kind of product every day. We are extremely well supplied, and you can see that on the comments that the people have left from previous years. Like, there's going to be no shortage of food or anything like that. You're going to get plenty of food, and you're going to get plenty of trail mix that you're going to be so tired of trail mix. You're going to get plenty of chocolate, plenty of fruit, plenty of bread, relish, vegetables, and then, of course, rices, legumes, pastas, etc. Um, Mainly, our dishes are vegetarian based, so we cook everything with vegetables, and then we add animal protein as a side if we can, like for example, salmon or lamb or other kind of fish. But it is not mainly meat or fish based. Okay, so it's always vegetable based, and then we add other proteins on top. Um, in terms of refilling water, you can do it straight from the source here in Iceland. These are pictures from the last few years. So normally, of course, you know that we have a lot of sheep in Iceland, but the amount of sheep out in the mountains, it's minimal. You get to see sheep from once in a while, but not so many. And then, of course, we have plenty of running water everywhere, coming straight from the glaciers or filtered through the lava rock that acts like a natural filter. So all the water that filters through this rock is completely clean. If still you do not trust this water to be super safe, you're very welcome to bring purification tablets or a live straw or an UV filter if you want. Again, it is not necessary. We have never gotten sick in so many years of guiding, over a decade guiding in the Icelandic Highlands. We have never gotten anyone getting sick in the trail for drinking water or similar. So you'll be fine if you drink straight from the rivers. Of course, there are gonna be some places where we are gonna be hiking nearby, and you're gonna get to see, oh, that river looks pretty dirty and brown. Shall I just drink straight from the source? Of course not. We will let you know where you can refill, and we will stop. We will tell you, hey, we can refill in here. Let's wait a little bit more to the next stream or so on. Okay. Um,
Yeah, about requirements for this trip, we always say that you if you are being able to hike 20 kilometers, that is 13 miles for consecutive days, and carry your fully loaded backpack is perfect. So, as you know, some days we have 10 kilometers, other days 18, other days 25. But if you are able to hike this, you are perfectly able for this adventure. And about elevation gains, uh, every day it's between 700, well, no more than 700 meters. That is 2,300 feet. So the average is 700 meters elevation gain. So it's very, very nice because sometimes we have 25, 23 kilometers and the elevation gain is 200 meters, 300 meters. So it's very, very nice walking. Even if it's a long distance, it's very nice to cover this almost flat distance. And bring high quality waterproof gear, mountain gear, because sometimes we have rain, we have also wind, sometimes both rain and wind, and sometimes it's cold. So also waterproof clothes. You can use it not only for rainy days, also for windy days. Even if it's sunny, sometimes the wind is so strong that you need another layer. So the Gore-Tex jacket is a very nice stuff to put it over your on top of the other layers you have. And of course, a strong sense of determination and a positive mindset is very, very important for this adventure because it's 10 days hiking with different kinds of weather conditions inside the group of 12 people and different kinds of huts and beds every night. Sometimes the food is nice. We are very good cooks, but sometimes it's not the meal you are used to eat in your daily routine. So sometimes you are not in your at home, so you don't eat the things maybe you eat at home. So all these things are different, and sometimes to feel like, oh, I think I'm a little bit tired, or I think I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I can manage this. I have a group of 12 people with me. I'm not alone in the Highlands, so I can do it, and I can pass all these bad moments. So that's why positive mindset is very, very important here. That's why you are traveling with a group of people, with an experienced guide, and in a fantastic landscape. Because we always say that these landscapes, also the energy there is super strong. And we are like batteries. We are recharging batteries every day. But we know that some days are very, very, very tough days because of the weather conditions or whatever. So it's very important all not or just the positive mindset. Also to stay flexible because your mind is flexible and you are um, maybe one day you are super tired and we change plans because in the Highlands you never know what's going to happen. Even for us that we have been there many, many times, we have to change sometimes the path because some river we can cross that river, so you have to go upstream maybe for 3 hours more, and we have to change the route. But that's why your mind must be flexible to change plans easily. Because if not, everyone is going to be super frustrated. And that's not the point. So, for the wellness of the group, it's very, very important to be flexible every moment and to stay positive. Of course, you can. Sometimes it is impossible to stay positive every single day because every day we have moments of low moments or moments we are more down. But that's why we are in a big group and we have all the travelers with us and we have the guide and we have this positive mindset we were talking about. So finally, you can, with all these hard moments and everything at the end, is going to be perfect and you are going to enjoy a lot. But all these points are very, very important in this kind of adventures where you never know what's gonna happen in the wilderness. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make a small point. So when Monica said that you might not be able to cross a river and walk upstream for 3 hours, that's something that happened last year. We got a lot of rain for several days on the shortest day that is normally about 2 hours hiking, 2 hours and a half hours, 2 hours and a half hiking. The group was not able to cross one very wide river, so instead of crossing that wide river that was extremely deep and stronger, in this case, Monica, the guy who was the guide on this group, she decided to just not risk it, not put the group on risk, and just go around and find a little bit longer, but the way safer. So that's always the best option. So it is not like you've been hiking for 8 hours a day, and then you need to add three more on top. Now, that's something that happened last year on the shortest part, shortest day of the whole trip.
Yeah, of course, that was just once. Probably that's not gonna, it's just gonna happen every single trip, of course. But that's an example. And also sometimes, yes, I was gonna say something that was in my mind about, yes, when we change plans. We do it for uh, safety, safety reasons, always for the ones of the group, and always for safety reasons. So don't think we are changing plans because we prefer to do that plan because of something. No, no, it's always because we have a big reason for doing it. That is also usually safety reasons. And about weather conditions uh, and bad gear, yeah, it's something that is, you can see it in the photo in the right, to the right, this, this girl with the poncho, a plastic poncho that is, well, it can be okay. In other places, but in Iceland, it's a little bit uncomfortable because with the windy days, it's not good. And I think the best thing is a waterproof jacket, waterproof pants, and of course, all the layers you have underneath. And we always say that there's no bad weather, but bad gear. And that's true. You are more comfortable even in the bad weather with a very good gear than if you have if you don't have the proper gear, of course. And can be very, very, very hard if you walk in this kind of landscape with these bad weather conditions without the proper equipment. So that's something that is really important for us and also for you, for the whole group.
Cool, thank you. Actually, that poncho was manufactured in the hut that morning with trash bags because she didn't have the proper gear, waterproof, and she was soaking wet from the previous days. Um, this was, of course, something that happened last year. We had extremely bad weather. That's something that we don't guess it's, well, we hope is not going to happen again this year, but you need to be prepared for anything. Anything can happen in the Icelandic Highlands. And then in terms of gear, apart of course of the waterproof jacket and pants that we were mentioning, well, you all have this gear list that we have sent you. If you don't have it, you can request it, request us to send it to you again. That's not a problem. We can do that anytime. And it is important to pack minimalist as much as you can. Okay, you're gonna be backpacking for 12 days. or well, 10 days in total of hiking, and you do not want to carry a lot of stuff, a lot of weight on your back. Normally, just as a reference, I carry myself, including all the safety equipment, first aid kit, um, sleeping bag and stuff, about like maybe 7, 8 kilos on my back, so no more than that. Monica even carries less. She's way more minimalist than I am in terms of clothing. Um, Hiking poles, if you are used to hike with them, they are very they can come handy for sure. If you're not used to hike with hiking poles, you can always do not use them or use hours if you have some problem, but it's always good to bring them just in case. Okay. Nowadays you have this collapsible or detachable hiking poles that they allow, some airlines allow. So you will need to check if you are not checking in your luggage all the way to Iceland and you just want to bring it as how do you call it, cabin luggage, like the hand luggage. Yeah. If you do not want to check in and you want just to bring hand luggage, um, then you would need to check with the airline. We know that some of the Icelandic airlines that we have here, they allow this, but you would need to check if just in case you're flying with SAS, Scandinavian Airlines, or United coming from the US, or if you're coming all the way from Australia and you're using different airlines as well. But then, yeah, so remember your hiking poles, remember being minimalist, bring a good sleeping bag. We will talk about the average temperature or expected temperature on the mountain huts during the night, and try to have good gear. Sometimes, and we have seen this in the past, people that are very attached emotionally to this very old backpack that it's about 40 years old and has this very nice frame made out of steel. It's super heavy. You need to be light. You need to be able, feel comfortable with your gear. So try to bring good gear for this trail. You will thank it uh, to your previous, to your past yourself once you are done with the trip, because it makes a huge difference to carry a lot of weight or to carry very little weight. Um, what to expect? This is one of the most difficult things to answer for this trip. But our daily routine normally is 7:30 a.m. for breakfast and between 7 to 8 p.m. for dinner. We know some people do have way earlier dinners, and some people are way well, they are early birds, so they wake up like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Okay, so first of all, do not take this daily routine, 7:30 a.m. for breakfast, 7 to 8 p.m. For dinner as a fixed rule. Okay, some days we are gonna arrive in the huts a little bit later than expected. Some days we might be sharing the hut with other people, and therefore we are just gonna need to organize the guides. We will need to talk to each other. For example, me, I would need to talk to the guy from the other group who is sharing our same hut. That is normally the biggest. That only happens on the bigger huts. And then if, for example, we have a group of, I don't know, 20 people in front of us, it's definitely better to let them have dinner around 7 p.m. And then we can have dinner at 8:15 p.m. And then we can have a long talk afterwards or so on. Some days we're going to be hiking for several hours. And we might arrive to the hut around 7. I mean, we are not robots. We are not machines. We need our time to make this this good dinners, this good food that Monica was very humbling saying before, that we are very good cooks. Yeah, but it is true. No, but we need a little bit of time for making this. Otherwise, we will just be bringing this pre-packed dehydrated foods packages to the huts, and that's not what we like. We like you to have a good dinner after a long day of hiking. And then we have another case, another possible scenario, that is what happens if there is a massive storm hitting, and we need to start a little bit later. Then we will just wake up a little bit later, probably, and we will let you know. Well, today instead of doing breakfast at 7:30, we might just do it I don't know, 8 a.m. Or 8:30 a.m. So you can take it as a holiday. So you can rest, you can sleep a little bit more, or you can just wake up and just wander around the hut. But if the weather is good, if the forecast is good, on if the pace of the group is good, and we don't need to share the hut with a lot of people, we normally have 7:30 a.m. breakfast, 7:30 a.m. breakfast, and then 7 to 8 p.m. dinner. We are never, of course, gonna be with a whip just behind you saying, "Hey, okay, let's have breakfast. You have 15 minutes to finish your porridge," or anything like that. Okay, so but at the same time, we like to have expected departure time after having breakfast. Um, then, in terms of river crossings, so there's one thing that we really like about a lot of people that have come over the last few years, and is that when they want to join our trips, they say, "Hey, so I've been doing this 20 days backpacking trip in Alaska, solo backpacking trip. Do you think I'm ready for this hidden trails?" And we normally say, "Yeah, definitely." And the thing is that a lot of you have done a lot of hiking, that's for sure. And a lot of you might have crossed or forded a river in the past. But now in Iceland, now you are in Iceland, and we are the ones knowing this river. So you really need to trust us in order to avoid unexpected accidents that might happen in the rivers. So we have river crossings pretty much almost every day, except some of the first days, and then one day right in the middle of the trip, more or less. Depending on the time of the summer, depending if you're coming in July, if you're coming in August, the rivers might be a little bit deeper than others, or they might be a little bit more shallow. The steps to follow, of course, once we arrive to the river is, first of all, wait for either me or Monica to cross. Okay. Then we will arrive to the other side of the river. We will let you know, hey, it is safe to cross. You need to, so it's, I don't know, like knee deep. So it's all the way up to your knees. Then you can decide if you want to remove your trousers, if you want to roll them up all the way to your knee. And then you get ready to cross, and you find a body that is gonna help you. Sometimes, and most of the time, we just cross on couples, on pairs, two people at the same time, just entangle like with a chain with your arms. Sometimes we might need bigger groups, 3 people, maybe 4 people. Last year we did for the first time 5 people, 5 person crossing, I think it was, but it was because the rivers were extremely, extremely strong because of several days, like with 4 or 5 days on non-stop rain and heavy winds. So it was just awful weather, and 5 people had to link. It was super safe, um, and yeah. So once you find your body, and the guy says, "Okay, you need to find one person, or you're gonna cross on groups of 3 people," then you become brave and you cross the river all together at the same time, step by step. Once you reach the other side, you warm up, you change your water shoes to the boots or the hiking shoes that you have again. And of course, if the river cannot be crossed, we need to be flexible. This is the story we were telling you before. Like the group that last year wanted to cross a river. It was the shortest day of the whole trip, 6 kilometers, yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, of hiking. And when they arrived to the river, that is just on the other side of the pretty much from the hut. Um, it was impossible to be crossed. I mean, it was water up to the waist. It was extremely strong, completely brown, carrying a lot of sediment, and it was not safe. and the guides, we are never, ever, ever gonna put you in any risk. So if we cannot cross the river, we always have alternative routes. But these alternative trails are alternative routes. They might enlarge a little bit the trail for that day. Okay, so in this case, for the shortest day that was supposed to be like around 2 hours ish, turned out to be what 5 hours in total, I think. But it was the safest, and people were happy about it. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. You just need to trust us when arriving to the rivers, and well, face the challenge. Monica likes to say that after the first two river crossings or the first three river crossings, you love every single of them. And some people take it like that. Some people just embrace this part of the trip and they say, well, I'm just gonna enjoy it. And we have one day that we cross this plain that it's called the Thousand River Valley. So get ready for that.
Yeah, river crossings are amazing. Yeah, just say. And of course, expect sunny days, also rainy days, as I said before, with wind sometimes. Sometimes the wind is super strong, so we have to walk all together. Sometimes we cannot stop too much time in one location because we have to keep going because the wind is so strong that you can stand there like looking at the landscape. You have to continue, but it is what it is. Highlands in Iceland are like this, and I think it's a gift to enjoy every single day, even if it's foggy, even if it's windy or whatever. We are gonna enjoy a lot. So you can expect an epic adventure because um, landscapes and the highlands are gonna be beautiful, even if it's a foggy day. Sometimes I love foggy days because it's more difficult for orienting. It's more difficult for navigation, but the mood in the foggy days is very very the environment and the colors and the lights are very very nice and beautiful. So that's sometimes it's beautiful to have a foggy day. And when of course, if we sometimes we can have several sunny days in a row. So that's something that it's amazing, especially here in Iceland. Sometimes you have a very sunny morning, and then the clouds are coming slowly, and then in the evenings it starts raining, or sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you have a very, very strong storm in the morning, and we have to wait a little bit, just a little bit, because we cannot spend the whole day in the hut. But sometimes we have to wait a little bit and then to get out to the next hut, but maybe 2 hours later. But sometimes it's better. So it depends the day, depends the weather. And we can expect unknown trails, expect to hike part of the Lake Pegor because we'll hike the two last stages of the Lake Pegor. So from Autavat to Emstrut and from Emstrur to Thorsmore. That is the our final destination, the Valley of Thor in Thorsmore. So this is the last part of the trail, and also we can expect to want to go back to the unknown trails because sometimes the unknown trails sometimes are more difficult, more tricky, and when you arrive to the big or the wide paths or wide trails, okay, it's more comfortable for walking, but you are going to find more people. So sometimes when we arrive to the area of Loikbegur Trail, we want to come back again to the first days where we were just us in the huts and in the in the ah in the huts or hiking or whatever. Sometimes if we arrive to a hot tub that it's in the middle of nowhere and we are just sad, so it is amazing. Sometimes we have hot tubs in Lamanaloigar that they are very, very close to the hut. And it's very nice when we finish the hike and after the hike, we can go walking from the hut. It's super close to the hot tubs. And we hot springs, sorry, hot springs. So we can take a dip in the and stay there looking at the landscape. But of course, we are going to find more people. But when we are in the hot springs in the middle of nowhere, it's just us, and it's very, very amazing. So we always say that the weather doesn't limit or interrupt the adventure; it defines and shapes it, and that's true because I think you can enjoy even if it's a sunny day or it's a windy or rainy. Sometimes we get tired because it's rainy, it's raining and it's windy and very strong wind. But at the end of the day, we say, okay, was a magnificent, it was a fantastic day hiking through the highlands. So I'm happy. It's done. So that's the important thing.
Cool. So yeah, we are gonna go over the questions that you have sent over the last few days. But yeah, as Monica was saying, like no matter the weather, the adventure it's gonna be epic. And you might have noticed that we haven't posted a lot of very spectacular landscapes, and that's to keep a little bit the secret of these trails before you arrive. Otherwise, we will be doing a lot of spoilers for just on this webinar session. So we wanted to just keep this surprise because you're gonna get to see some of the most beautiful places you have seen in your life, probably and hopefully. Otherwise, it's on us. So, questions. We have gotten this one over the last few years, not only during your trip, the one that you're joining this summer, or not by the members of your party, but people coming the previous years. And it is because since 2021, we have had a quite common volcanic activity or volcanic eruption happening very close to Reykjavik, very close to the city, but very close. It's about 60 kilometers away. So it's kind of like far away from Reykjavik. Since 2021 till 2025, we have had 11 eruptions on the same area. Okay. And it's their very risky scenario. Can these eruptions cancel the trip? Short answer would be no. And it is because this specific eruptions that we have very close to the city, they are not explosive. They don't have any glacier on top, meaning that they are not creating any big, huge cloud of ashes as the Eyjafjallajökull volcano, the one from 2010, that stopped all the air traffic here in Iceland. Um, so no, this volcanic eruptions, first of all, they do not create this cloud made out of ashes that can just stop all the air traffic. And secondly, they are happening extremely far away from the place where we are going to be hiking. Just in a straight line would be about like 200 kilometers away. Um, but then, of course, Iceland, it's very active. We have tons of volcanoes, tons of volcanic systems happening all the time, and all of them are active or dormant. What we have seen over the last few years, for example, has been the Skaftarkloif. So this river that you actually have on the background of the slide, this is called Skaftá, and it comes straight from the Vatnajökull glacier. That is the biggest glacier in Iceland. What we have seen it since 2018, we have gotten several times that there has been an underglacial flood. So there has been a volcano erupting under the biggest glacier of Europe, onto one section of it, and then the water levels of this river have increased. And only once since 2018, we have had to change a little bit the route or adapt it to not be hiking very close to this trail. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but the place that I'm just pointing is the mountain hut where we are staying. So normally this plane in here gets covered on water until like 100, 200 meters away from the hut, more or less. So in case this would happen, as I said, it has only happened once. We would just change the route so you could still go hiking. Normally, when this happens, there's increased water levels and very strong smell to sulfur. But last year, the last group of the season, they got this phenomenon happening at the same time they were hiking, in the previous year as well. So this is historically something that happens every now and then. So it is not dangerous. We just need to be aware of not being in the area. So if it happens that it's unlikely but possible, we just need to change the route and get away from the river. Then we do have another volcano. The last time it erupted was 1918. Its name is Katla. For those who are Netflix fans, you have a very nice TV show called Katla on this platform on Netflix. That it is the story. Well, it's a little bit of science fiction mixed with what would happen, or how the lives of the people in the south of Iceland would be affected if there would be a volcanic eruption happening tomorrow. Long story short, if Katla erupts, it would create the biggest river on Earth. But if Katla erupts, you won't even be allowed to land with your plane in Iceland. So, I mean, there are so many different protocols, and everyone we are all well trained to face this. But again, last time Katla erupted was on the 1918, so it is pretty much difficult to say if it's going to happen in the following 50 years or 50 days. It's totally impossible. They are constantly monitoring the volcanic activity anyway. Logistics of air travel with hiking poles and bag storage while on the trail. For the hiking poles, I think we mentioned it before. I think I did. But basically, you need to check with the airlines that you are traveling with. And depending, of course, where you're coming from, if it's a short flight or if it's a long flight, if your hiking poles are these long ones that you need to screw in and out, or if you can just pretty much like they can deattach in different pieces and then you put all those pieces together. Um, Airlines have been changing this regulation for the last few years, so you need to check directly with them. In terms of bag storage while on the trail, there is one place or one company called luggagelockers.is. I'm just gonna post it on the chat. www.luggagelockers.is. There you go. So luggagelockers.is, it is company. They have several lockers around the city, around Reykjavik, and you can leave your luggage in there and retrieve it after your trip with us. If you are staying on a hotel before the trip and after the trip, you can always ask them. Some hotels do, some hotels do not have any kind of luggage room, but a few of them they do. So it's good to check with them directly. Okay. recommendations on water shoes can be they be soft like neoprene socks. So we have had over the last few years people come in on neoprene socks, and the outcome of this is always the same, and it is massive blisters all over your feet with the neoprene socks if you cross, because some rivers they have sandy bottom, but some rivers they have big uh, rocks and sharp rocks in some places. So it is good to have a water shoe that has some kind of like hard sole on the bottom on the outside. Okay. Um, Crocs are good. Sandals, pretty much like Tiva. They are very good. Of course, if you are bringing some kind of like sandals, not flip-flops, sandals made out of cloth. After crossing a river, they might get very wet. When the time that you arrive in the hut, they might be still wet. So you want something dry to use. Crocs tend to dry faster, mainly because they're made not out of cloth, of any kind of cloth. So they are made of pretty much, what is it, plastic or similar kind of material. So it's good to bring something like that. Um, we are using um, different kinds of shoes, each of us. In my personal opinion, or what I personally use, it's a shoe that can be used for running, swimming, and biking. And so it's this kind of like triathlon shoe that it's full of tiny holes. So I just put them when crossing a river, and all the water comes in and then comes out, but there's no rocks coming in at all. Um, we got also a question about bringing waders for crossing the river. You know, these long pants that you put for crossing the river without taking off your pants or your boots. Um, you can bring those if you want. We had a couple from Alaska that brought those a few years ago, and they left them for us as a gift, and they are amazing, but they are heavy. So if you want to save some space, and if you want to have some hot shoes for when you finish doing hiking and you arrive in the mountain hut, we would recommend something like Crocs or similar. And this comes pretty much perfect timing. Do Crocs with a heel strap work better than water shoes? Depends on the water shoes. They can be a good hot shoe instead of a wet sandal. 100% agree with it. I would say, yeah, definitely. Like Crocs with a heel strap, they work better than some kinds of water shoes, like this kind of like sandals that might get super wet and not dry very easily, or those that have this rubber sole where you step when using them that they just soaks like a sponge all the water, and every time you just step on those, all the water comes out. So yeah, Crocs work good. If you want something else, make sure that has a sole that you can use for walking on top of rocks on those rocky rivers.
Okay, so about the temperatures in the huts and if we can dry clothes or boots overnight, I will say, well, every hut is different. So usually, always we have some kind of heating inside. So some of them are super warm, and some of them are not so warm, but all of them they have heating. So I would say that, for example, in Landmannalaugar, it is possible to dry clothes, and also in a structure, because we have a very good heating inside the hut. It's a very, very, very nice hut. And then I will say a whole skill as well, the private one. So maybe three, four huts you can dry clothes, The rest of the hut is more difficult because sometimes during the night it's super humid and super wet, and even if it's not raining, and the heating is not enough for drying all the clothes. And with the boots, it's the same. Sometimes maybe we can dry them, but not always. So keep it in mind. And the temperature, it's around, I would say, I don't know exactly inside because it depends a lot of things. But just keep in mind that 3, 4 hats you can dry, and the rest is more difficult depending if you have washed some clothes or if it was raining the whole day. So it depends a lot of stuff. And about the sleeping pads, you don't need to carry them because we all the huts they have mattresses on the bunk beds, so you don't need the sleeping pads. And about the food from hut to hut, as I said before, we are not gonna carry all the food, just the lunch packs and water that sometimes you can refill on the way. So it's very good to have water from the beginning, from the hut, just in case. But the step 1, 2 days, we can refill along the way. There are a lot of streams coming from the mountains where the water is super fresh and super nice. And yeah, that's it about the food and about the snacks. Yeah, we are going to provide the snacks every single day. But of course, if you like to have your own brand or your own snacks, you can do it for sure. And yes, this is the same thing I was talking about. You don't need to bring a lunch bag or a lunch box because we have them. So we are going to give you one lunch box at the beginning of the trip. So you can put everything inside and you can keep it the whole journey. Ah, sorry, because Albert wants to say something.
Yeah, and about what if you cannot eat a particular item, there will be an alternative option. Um, Again, this is something like what we have talked before. If you have an allergy or an intolerance, you please send it to us before coming to the trip because we need to plan everything. Of course, we're always gonna try to have an alternative for you if you cannot eat, not if you do not like an item, like if you do not like cheese. Okay, we do have many other things that you can eat that day for your lunch, but we are not gonna provide a specific alternative to cheese. We are gonna have maybe, I don't know, smoked salmon, cheese, butter, peanut butter, chocolate butter, and stuff like that. Plus fruit, plus dry nuts and trail mix, plus protein bars, plus plenty of other stuff. If you cannot eat one particular item, please make sure to send it to us by email whenever you can and before the trip starts, of course.
Yes. Sorry, I had a problem with my audio. Okay, so do we need to bring cash? No, you don't need to bring cash because you can pay everything with your card. And even the house you can pay with your card, so you don't need cash. And cash for showers, you don't need it. You can pay with card as well, and they approximately is around 1,000 crowns. It's 5 minutes of hot shower. So, well, There is a private hut that I think is a little bit less, but the average is 1,000 crowns for 5 minutes of hot water. Thoughts on bringing a poncho? Well, for us, it's not a good idea. Of course, we saw the photo before, and we have seen a lot of people with ponchos, plastic ponchos, and it's not a good idea because when the here in Iceland, it's with a poncho, it's a mess. So it's better a jacket.
It gets completely entangled with your legs, your hiking poles. It comes on top of your face when it's windy and rainy. So definitely bringing a poncho is the worst thing you can bring. 100%. It's better to have a good waterproof jacket, a good pair of waterproof pants, and a good rain cover for your backpack. Okay. Um, so we are getting a lot of questions through the chat. I'm just gonna make a short stop. Please remember to send the questions on the Q&A box, then it would be easier. Okay. Anyway, I'm just gonna answer a few of them. Do you guys bring scissors for cutting moleskin for blister prevention? Yes, we do have scissors on our first aid kit. How do we pay in the huts? Though we have beer or showers, cash, coins, etc. This is something we are going to cover in a few minutes as well. And how many people are in the trek? Will your trek leader be one of you or both of you? So each group has 12 people maximum, okay, and one guide. Uh, in your specific trip, Randy, yours is the first one, if I'm not mistaken. There's going to be one guide. And I'm saying this because there's one group that is going to have two guides, but that's because we are going to have one guide joining us to learn how to guide. So we are just having one trainee this summer that is going to join us. But there's always one guy, not always two guides. So it's going to be either me or Monica. We already do not have more guides at the moment. We like to guide our own trips. Okay. The other questions, we will answer them at the end on the Q&A. So please, if you have more questions about the trip or something that just comes up while we are talking, just make sure to leave them on the Q&A box, please, please, please. Will there be outlets to charge in the hut, or is it best to bring a battery pack? Battery pack, 100%. You need a proper battery pack. Nowadays, we have this battery packs that they can have up to 10 charges on their size of a tiny phone. So it's they're super good, super good. Those who are in the US, you can find them on REI. For sure, we purchased ours in there last time. Those who are in Canada, you can go to MEC, Mountain Equipment Co-op or Company. I don't know what it is now. And those in Australia, I have no idea. I'm sorry about that. We have never been to Australia, so we have never visited those stores. But you have battery packs always. You definitely need to bring a battery pack to the trip. In terms of charging your electronic devices, you're going to have electronic plugs or outlets for recharging the first day in Midgard Base Camp. That is the guest house that we are going to stay the first night before heading to the Highlands. Then after that, there's going to be no electricity until the day that we arrive in Holoskjöld. That is right at the middle of the trip. Okay, so no electricity in between the first day, the middle of the trip. Then in the middle of the trip, you can recharge. You normally what happens is that each of you takes an electricity outlet when we arrive. You can recharge and plug all your devices, but of course, be mindful with the other members of the trip. And then you recharge. Ideally, what is better to do is to recharge not only your phone or photo camera, but recharging your battery pack that night. And then there's going to be no more electricity until you arrive in Reykjavik. Okay. So bring a battery pack. Definitely you need one. Can we substitute a down vest for a fleece jacket of second layer? Yes. Uh, as long as with all the different layers you're warm enough. Okay. So just expect that during the hiking in the Icelandic highlands, we normally have the lowest that it can be during the summertime might be around 5 Celsius. That would be uh, something around 40 Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken. But with wind temperatures, with rainy conditions, strong winds, rain, fog, and when you're tired, the feeling it's way less, like 2 Celsius, so around 38 Fahrenheit. So if you want to bring a fleece jacket as a second layer, you can do that. But we highly recommend bringing a down jacket, puffy jacket, uh, for those cold days. Also, there are some huts that we have that they are cold when we arrive because they don't have a warden taking care of them. So between the moment you arrive and you set on the guide sets on the heating, it can be either gas or electric heating. Um, until the time that the hut itself just starts to being a little bit warmer, until then, it's good to have something dry that you can use. Personally, when we hike, in my case, normally I go with a t-shirt, then a fleece jacket, then the Gore-Tex jacket that I normally use either as a waterproof jacket or as a wind stopper. And and then when we arrive to the hut, I just take those off and I put a light puffy jacket on top, so I can be warm just when we start just organizing and starting to cook and stuff until the hut becomes warmer. Um, is there a pace we're expected to keep? Does the group stay all together or does it split into if there are slower walkers? So the group never splits on two subgroups or anything like that. First of all, and this is mainly because there's one guide. Um, and also because when we are doing this trip, and this is a very important thing to mention, the moment we start, we become not just a group of random strangers walking together, but we become a big group of people that take care of each other. And we start together, we end together every single day. So there's a pace that you're expected to keep, of course. But at the same time, we understand that you're on holidays, that you want to stop, that you want to take pictures, that there are going to be some places that it's going to be a little bit slower because we are going uphill, or some places that it's going to be a little bit slower because we're going to go downhill on a very steep trail. So there's a pace that you're expected to keep. Of course, we always need to make it on time for dinner in the hut, but we are never gonna be with a whip saying, "Hey, we gotta go." Although we always try to have a pace that is good enough for those who are faster and for those who are slower. Okay, but we cannot be extremely slow or extremely fast. And then we have some situations when the weather might not be that good and people they just want to keep going as much as they want as they can. That normally happens for the entirety of the group, not only for the faster ones. So it happens for everyone when we have really bad weather conditions and we need to keep going. People just want to keep on the trail and walk all at the same rhythm to make it to that faster. Do we need to pack toilet paper? There's toilet paper on the mountain huts. But if you need to go to the toilet before, like in between huts while we are on the trail, we will explain once you're here about the dynamics of going. We're doing number one or number two here in Iceland. You do not need to bring a shovel for making a hole. That's because we have a very fragile nature in here, so you cannot dig a hole. Otherwise, you will be just going through lichen and through moss, and it would just destroy the ground. Um, but if you wanna go to do number one, number two, and you're gonna use toilet paper while we are on the trail, you need to pack it out, the toilet paper, not the human disposals. So it's always good to have toilet paper, of course. You can get toilet paper here in Iceland. You can get it in the first hut in Landmannalaugar. You can purchase toilet paper as well. And of course, we will provide bags so you can just put your used toilet paper inside for packing it out. And I'm tired of having trail mix. Can I bring my own snacks? Yes. So we personally we are tired of the trail mix ourselves because at the end we are guides. We are all the time in the mountains with the people. We are having trail mix over and over and over. So we totally get it. You are very welcome to bring your own snacks. That's not a problem. There, we are not going to require you to take that trail mix with you that day. You can just bring your own stuff. There was a question that arise yesterday in the Faroe Islands webinar. There was people that said like, I'd like to. I really enjoy this protein bars, the Cliff bars, that are very popular in the States, in Canada, North America, and pretty much all over the world. We don't get them in Iceland, so we get other kinds of stuff. So if you want to bring this kind of bars, you can plan ahead before coming and bring them. There's no massive food restrictions when it comes to snacks when coming to Iceland. Nope.
Okay, about if do we need to bring water purification tablets? What about electrolytes? Well, about water purification tablets, well, as Alberto said before, you can refill water a lot of along the way almost every day. But if you feel more comfortable with the purification tablets, of course, you can take them with you and carry them. And about the electrolytes, it's very nice to have some flavor in the water. And sometimes it's good to have them for the long days, long distance. So it's very nice to have electrolytes with you. Highly recommend it. Uh, about regarding how do we manage rabies? Usually in the big huts we can leave the trash there, but sometimes the small huts we have to keep the trash in the food boxes when they are empty at the end of the day. The next morning when the food boxes are empty and we have finished everything, so we put the trash inside the food boxes, and then the drivers will take them for coming back again to Reykjavik. So yes, usually you can leave your trash or in a common bag in the small huts or in a big bin in the big huts. And our facilities, sinks, clotheslines, drying room available in the huts for light washing. So yes, usually you have the sinks. I think most of them you have sinks for washing clothes, and then the clotheslines is something that is recommended to bring with you because sometimes there are not so many in the hut. So it's always nice when someone has the clotheslines. And some huts they have drying room, but most of them they don't have. So uh, as I told you before, some days we can dry everything, but not every single day. So yes, keep it in mind. And then yeah, usually if you carry with you your things, your stuff for washing clothes, you can do it. And sometimes you have small sinks, and you can do it outside the hut. Usually when you um, and the same place you are using for washing hands or whatever. Not inside the kitchen, because inside the kitchen usually we use the sinks for cooking, for doing dishes, but outside the huts, yes. It is suggested to procure map of the area in advance. Will you share GPS files of the route we plan to follow? Well, a map of the area, maybe you can find some maps in Reykjavik of this area, but it's very difficult to find everything in one map. Um, Probably you need two maps, and it is not easy to cover everything, but you can do it with maybe two maps. And about sharing the GPS files, it's difficult because we have a lot of plans. Sometimes we don't have a fixed route, and we change routes depending on the day, depending on the weather. So it will be a lot of stuff to share. So that's why we don't share the GPS files of the route. Alberto wants to say something about this.
Yeah, and you're never gonna be hiking on your own. You're always gonna be with the group and with a guide. So you're never gonna need to be following a GPX track or anything like that. Um, so yeah, there. Just wanted to say that, like, you're not gonna be hiking on your own. You're gonna be hiking with the whole group. So there's no need for the GPX track. You're welcome to track the trail after, well, every day. That's not a problem. Okay, so are hiking boots as opposed to hiking shoes mandatory? Do we bring two pairs if we have water crossings? Do we need to bring a sleeping bag? Um, for hiking boots or hiking shoes, um, I mean, we have had people coming to the trail and having blisters on saying like, "Hey, my feet hurt if I'm wearing my boots, so I'm just gonna do it on sandals." We have had in the past one person doing that, and she was able to do it. This doesn't mean that doing it on hiking shoes or hiking boots it is not needed. We would say that what you need to have is a mountain footwear, not matter if it's hiking shoes or hiking boots. They have to be waterproof because you're gonna get wet, 100%. They need to be comfortable and to provide you with the stability for walking on very uneven terrain. Okay. Do we bring two pairs if we have water crossings? Again, we're going to do water crossing, so you need some kind of water shoes. That means that you should bring something with a good sole, because sometimes these rivers they have rocky bottom rather than sandy bottom. So it's good to have something that helps your feet not to get injured while hiking in while crossing a river. Again, some kind of very flexible or light. We have had this people bringing this kind of shoes that they are not neoprene socks, but they look like those. And those ones are extremely flexible and extremely thin on the bottom, and people tend to have blisters after bringing them. So having some kind of good water shoes is essential. And do we need to bring a sleeping bag? Absolutely. There's no blankets. There are no blankets. There are no linens or duvets or pillows or anything in the mountain huts. Only a mattress. So please bring a sleeping bag. What happens if I have an accident while hiking? Do we have car access everywhere? So let's step into this situation. We have a person hiking the hidden trails, and in the middle of the trail, in one part of the trail, this person has an accident. Well, it depends a lot on where it happens. It might happen in a place that has an easy access for a car, but that's gonna be only during 3 days out of the 10. And this happens mainly on the Loiravero Trail, so on the big part that people want to go hiking. That is very popular for hikers all over the world. Um, so if that happens in there, there's always an access for a modified truck, modified vehicle to arrive and pick you up from there. But otherwise, if we are in the what we like to call the hidden trails, the only access that we have is by helicopter. So you would need a helicopter to pick you up and uh, take you out to the hospital in Reykjavik, of course. And then, of course, it would mainly depend on the kind of injury. Some people or some situations, even though it's a minor injury and you have an accident and I don't know, you twist not an ankle, but wrist, maybe you can continue for a few miles and arrive to the road. So you do not require a helicopter rescue. But otherwise, if you have a serious accident, even if it's in a very um, accessible place, you might need a helicopter rescue to take you straight to the hospital. Um, and then this brings us to the medical evacuation insurance. It is mandatory or just recommended, and must it include helicopter evacuation? For answering this, we are going to use a real example from 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't remember. I think 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we were with a group hiking out in the mountains on the first day. So it has a very easy car access. And it was a very stupid mistake, to be honest. This person was just walking down the mountain after a short day of hiking. The weather was nice, and this person was taking pictures, was distracted, and suddenly he tripped over, fell into the ground with the really bad luck that his shoulder went off and his wrist was completely not the wrist, the ankle was completely twisted. The ankle was completely twisted. Because of that, we immediately called the emergency services. There is a patrol on the place where they were hiking. They came and they said, yeah, this person needs a helicopter for sure. This is the amount in US dollars that this person had to pay for the helicopter rescue. Of course, this was 2023, July 2023, in the Blauwnieuwker. It's in Landmannalaugar, so first day of the trip. Of course, we have covered the name of the person just to give a little bit of privacy, but this is real. Uh, do you think this person paid for the invoice? Well, good stuff. The insurance paid. So it can be a very, very expensive holidays in Iceland if you have an accident and you do not have an insurance. And an insurance, we partner with Global Rescue, and when we go ourselves on a trip on holidays or when we are hiking somewhere else out of Iceland, we just have Global Rescue. It costs around 90 bucks, 100 bucks US dollars, something like that. And you avoid just stepping on situations like this. It's better to be safe than sorry, and definitely can be a very, very, very expensive holidays if you are not covered and you have an accident. Okay. Uh, when shall I pay the remaining balance of the trip? So the remaining 70%, no matter if you have booked through us or directly through us or through a different platform or retailer or outfitter, it's always maximum 2 months prior to the trip. So for those coming on July 16th, deadline is today. Then July 18th, deadline is in 2 days from now, and so on. So please remember, we have sent all of you reminder of the link. If you haven't settled your final payment, you can do it whenever you want, but please be aware that if the time comes and you haven't paid, the system will send you an automatic email saying, hey, this is the last reminder, otherwise the spot will be canceled and the system will just immediately notify the next person on the wait list. So it's better not to lose your spot. And then we know that you have sent a bunch of questions to the Q&A box. If you have more, you can send them right now on the Q&A box. Otherwise, you're welcome to send them by email. That's completely fine. So we're going to go over the Q&A box right now. First one is it possible to use trail shoes instead of hiking boots for this trip? I would say we are on the same situation that we were talking before, aren't we, Monica? Like, just make sure that your trail shoes are waterproof and that they give you enough stability for hiking on uneven terrain. Please, please, please. Do you create a WhatsApp group or email lists for the group participants to connect with each other before the trip? I'm happy to coordinate the one for my trip on August 18th. So we do not create the WhatsApp groups because we've seen that over the years, there's a bunch of people that they do have WhatsApp, a bunch of people that they do not. That's the reason why we created the Facebook group, the private Facebook group that is called Basecamp Amarok Adventures. You can start in there, of course, but otherwise, you can always send us an email and saying, hey, I would be completely up to create a WhatsApp group with all the members of my party. So you can share my phone number with them. We cannot share with all of you the personal information unless you say, yes, I want my phone number to be shared with everyone else's for legal reasons and this how's it called, the privacy data law regulation we have pretty much everywhere nowadays. So if you want us to ask the members of your group to start the WhatsApp group, you can send us an email and we can share your phone number with everyone else's if you give us authorization. But otherwise, we do not create the WhatsApp group. You can always, again, ask for this on the Facebook group. Like, I'm coming on the August 18th Hidden Trails trip, and I would like to know who's coming as well. And if we can connect through this, through WhatsApp or through the Facebook group. What type of footwear do you prefer to cross rivers? I usually use my sports sandals. Would you recommend neoprene socks? So we also have a similar question on the chat before. So neoprene socks are good if you want to use them as an addition to the sandals or to the water shoes. Ourselves, we have been using over the last few years, we have been using sandals, we have been using Crocs. Nowadays, Monica uses a special kind of sandals that are barefoot sandals, and I do use barefoot. How's it called again?
Water shoes.
Yeah, water shoes, but it's the sport that you triathlon water shoes. So they are normally designed for running, biking, and swimming. I normally like to use those, but again, ideally, what it's good to have, it's some kind of water shoe that can dry fast, so you do not need to have plenty of footwear like boots, water shoes, and a hot shoe kind of shoe. Do you guys bring scissors for cutting moleskin? We have already said this before. Yes, we do have scissors in our first aid kits, so don't worry about it. How do we pay in the huts that have beer or showers? You can pay everything in Iceland with credit card or debit card. What is widely not accepted in Iceland, it's American Express. Okay, this is a common rule in Iceland. Some businesses they do accept American Express, but the Visa, Mastercard, or other kind they are accepted. Otherwise, you have a bigger risk of not get accepted if you pay with American Express. Wondering whether you get specific questions sent in advance. The moment suggested footwear for river crossing, hiking sandals, neoprene socks are not needed. Yeah, we got a lot of questions sent in advance. Those are the ones that appeared on the Q&A that we have been displaying. Yeah. So again, hiking sandals, neoprene socks or not needed. Neoprene socks, you're welcome to bring them as far as they are in addition to the water shoes that you bring. Do we need to bring a swimsuit or can we just go in the hot springs in underwear or naked? So that's a very good question, Jim. So swimsuit, it is not mandatory, but if you want to go in the hot springs, you can go in your underwear. Like for example, some people have preferred to just go in the underwear because carrying a swimsuit just for the two hot springs that we are gonna get to see over the 12 days hike, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of space. Some people prefer to just carry the swimsuit, and some kinds of swimsuit, like this kind of like slipper, are not slipper. I don't know if it's sleeper is the right word for those. I mean, English is not our first language, so we are trying hard. um, the one that you use that looks pretty much like underwear for men, but the thin one that gets very well adjusted to the crotch. That one it's easier to wear for um, for hiking. So some people we have seen over the years just carrying like having the swimsuit on the days that we are gonna do some big river crossings or that we are gonna arrive in the hot springs in the middle of the hike. So you can do that as well. But if you want to bring your swimsuit, you are more than welcome, of course. In terms of naked, that's a very tricky part to tricky question to answer, I would say. I mean, we do not have wardens controlling who is going naked or wearing swimsuit on the hot springs. Some people might get uncomfortable if you go naked, and some people might don't give a shit about it. I would say if you want to go on the hot springs, that is the most recommended thing to do while on the trail on this trip. Use the swimsuit. Bring the swimsuit. It will be fine. And we have another one from Janet. Should we bring swimsuits for the hot springs? Highly recommended. Otherwise, you can go on your underwear. We don't judge. Nobody in the group does judges. Thanks for replying in the chat. You're very welcome, Dan. Wondering whether you would actually recommend the neoprene socks, not just they are okay. Do you just thought it out without socks? We do not use neoprene socks personally. Neither me or Monica nor other guides that we know here in Iceland. Probably it's because we are very used to hiking on this very cold, frigid waters. If you want to hike on those to have the neoprene socks, you're more than welcome to do so. But we personally do not do it. So you're welcome to bring them. We recommend them, but we don't use them at all. Anne says, will you carry snacks that we bring in the food boxes? Yes, every box that we deliver, normally we deliver two boxes for each group on each hut. One has breakfast and lunch, including all the snacks, and the other one has all the ingredients for dinner. So yeah, we do carry snacks. What about toiletries on toilets? What about them? So toilets, every mountain hut has a toilet. There are no toilets inside the mountain huts. All toilets and showers are always outside. In terms of toiletries, there's toilet paper on every single toilet in the mountain huts. There are no toilets on the way, so in between huts, no toilets. And if you want to go to the toilet while we are hiking, you need to bring toilet paper. Did you just say down is good to bring, or synthetic products like nanopuff better if wet but not as warm as down would be okay? Yeah, like nanopuff is good as well. Fiber is good as well. We always prefer puffy jackets. We prefer down jacket because it's warmer. But if you want to go with synthetic, that's fine as well. Just keep in mind to bring maybe, I would say, I don't know, Monica, if you agree with me, but some kind of thermal layer, kind of like a merino wool layer underneath,
yes,
or similar. And your down might get wet. Yes, your down might get wet if we have a rainy day for sure. That's why it's so important to have as well
yes.
a waterproof jacket. Would a small thermos be useful for a hot drink during the day? Absolutely. We have had this in the past. Some people prefer to bring it, some people prefer not to bring it, but it's good to have a small thermos along with your water bottle that you can just refill in the morning with hot water or coffee or hot tea and drinking along the day. That's completely fine. 1/4 of liter, it's adequate for carrying water, or do you recommend for carrying 2/4? Monica said almost every day you can fill up along the way during the day. Yes. Ourselves, we carry 1 liter always.
Yeah, 1 liter.
Yeah, because you never know how is it gonna be. You never know if there's gonna be plenty of water on the river that we normally get water from, or if we are gonna find a lot of like dirty water on that river, or what. So it's good to, or if you're gonna require more water because it's gonna be super hot, and you start with 1/4 of liter, and then you're gonna be walking for 2 hours, and there's gonna be no chances of refilling. You're gonna be able to refill along the way during the every single day, pretty much several times, but it's not gonna be like every 100 meters. So those do not take it as a fixed rule. You're gonna be able to fill up your water bottle several times, but not every 10 minutes or anything like that. So sometimes it's gonna be every 2 hours or every 1 hour, or sometimes it's gonna be early in the morning and late in the evening. Okay, so we will let you know every night before how the water situation is gonna be for the next day, but it's good to bring 1 liter at least. Can you provide information for the medical trip insurance you recommend? Yes, I'm gonna post it on the chat. So it's called Global Rescue. That's the insurance. But you have plenty of them. You have world nomads and stuff like that. Dan, good luck with the PhD defense. Hopefully we can celebrate after during the trip for that PhD defense. Although I understand that you're more like a judge of that defense. So good luck anyway. So yeah, that's the insurance that we normally like to recommend. Global Rescue, but of course there are many of other providers. You have AXA insurance, you have World Nomads, you have plenty of those. The most important thing that you need to be aware of is you have helicopter rescue covered. Will we have an opportunity to use the hot springs beyond the first day? So first 2 days we are in Landmannlaugar, and we have the same hot springs in there. After that, we are only gonna find one hot springs, and it's gonna be on the longer days. Actually, it's gonna be pretty much almost at the end of the day before reaching, like 2 hours before arriving in the hut. So if the weather is good, yeah, we will have the opportunity of using the hot springs. Are the hot springs hot or just warm? Good question. So they are natural hot springs. Some of them they are warmer. Some of them they are cooler. Uh, the ones in Landmannalaugar, they have a mix of a cold river and a warm river, is mixing into each other. And then we can just yeah, I mean, and in Landmannalaugar, you go into the hot springs, into the water, and it's kind of like a mix of cold and warm water. So you need to find the way or to find a place to be. And then the other one, it comes straight from inside the earth, and that's pure hot water. So it tends to be way warmer. But the temperature tends to range a little bit between the days. Like a few years ago, we were there with a group, and it was super sunny outside, warm, and people couldn't go inside because it was super warm as well. Would you recommend waterproof gloves? Yes, I would say so. We do have waterproof gloves, and we also carry wool mittens. So 100% recommended. Yes. And you said what I mean, if we bring our snacks from home, can they go in the food box? No, but mainly not because we do not want to, mainly because the moment that you depart with a guide from Reykjavik, the food boxes are going to be probably already on the way to the highlands. So no, if you bring your snacks from home, you need to carry them. Okay. You cannot place them on any box because those boxes are pre-made before the trip, and they, as soon as we leave from Reykjavik, they are already on the way to the mountains. And that would be all the Q&A, all the questions that you have sent. I don't know if you folks have more questions. The time is now to send them through. Otherwise, you can send them anytime to the email info@amarok.is. I'm gonna post it on the chat, info@amarok.is. You can send us your questions anytime. Is there soap at the huts, or should we bring our own? Huts have no soap, nor shampoo, nothing. Just think of a pure shower, and that's it. Nothing else. So all things that are conceived or understood as toiletries, you need to bring them. If you forget your soap, you can purchase soap on the first hut in Landmannalaugar. But after that, there's going to be no more places to purchase soap or deodorant or toilet paper or anything like that. More questions, anyone? Yes, no, yes, no. All right. Then I think we are all set. So I would say thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We really hope this was helpful, and we can wait to see you this summer.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, everyone, for being there today. And yeah, see you next summer to enjoy the Highlands. Thank you.